I wanted to share a helpful technique if you run into insomnia or if you just have some anxiety coming up in general. I think it'll work as well. This arose from my own experience this morning. I fell asleep around 4 a.m., which is pretty typical. I stay up late. But I woke up at 8 a.m., 4 hours of sleep, and I had had a disturbing dream, so it kind of left me with a raw kind of jolt in my nervous system. And I lay there for a while, could not fall back asleep, and a lot of time went by, and I started feeling irritable and just getting irrational and upset about the situation. And one of the things that was contributing to the insomnia was that I knew that a package was arriving today. I followed the little tracking number, and I knew I was going to have to give a signature. And so, knowing that I was going to be woken up at some point, most likely if I did fall back asleep, or there was a good chance of that, that added to the stress, made it more difficult. And I was also excited because I was getting a new laptop which would work with this animation software that I've been unable to use on my current computer. And so there was a little bit of that, anticipation, excitement, along with the stress of knowing that I might be woken up if I did fall back asleep. So I laid there from 8 a.m. to like 1 p.m. and nothing was working. I was not falling back asleep. So around 1 p.m. I thought to myself, is there another way that the brain can restore itself, rejuvenate itself without sleep? I mean, sometimes sleep just isn't going to happen. I've done another video on this channel, maybe two, on insomnia, and my thoughts about how it sometimes forces you to deal with something that you may not be dealing with, and other ideas about it if you want to check that video out. But in this case, I just wanted to feel better and get some restorative effects even if I couldn't sleep, which I'd never have. It's now 3:30 p.m. and I only have 4 hours of sleep, but I feel good. And so I wanted to share what I came up with. What I decided to do around 1 p.m. was breathe in while thinking of the word fine, F-I-N-E, breathe out while thinking of the word I'm, and then creating, although it sounds like fine, I'm, ultimately in the cycle it's I'm fine. The reason I breathe in with the word fine, like, thinking fine, is you take in that you are fine. Because whether you have insomnia or you just have anxiety in general, there's always something that you can come up with to be disturbed about. I mean, everything can be going just great in your life. Everything is the way you want it to be, but someone you know or someone in the world, there's going to be some condition out there that is creating suffering. Or you could come up with some fear about something that could happen. Or you can fixate upon what you would like to be better in some way. Or a hurt from the past can come up. I mean, it just doesn't matter what's going on in your life or in the world. You are always able to find some reason to not feel fine. And especially if you have insomnia, these thoughts are going to be exaggerated. You're going to feel more physically raw and uncomfortable and agitated. So, this does several things, this technique. First of all, by taking in fine with the breath, it's symbolically taking in this feeling of fine. And you might find resistance as you do this technique for the first, 5-10 minutes. Who knows how long you might resist it. And other thoughts may come up, but if you just stay with it, I found I started to feel better. And by breathing out on the I'm, instead of breathing in I'm and out fine, by breathing in fine and breathing out I'm, you're breathing out that personal sense of Oh, cat alert. You're breathing out that personal sense of identity, which is the source of all suffering. That getting wrapped up in your story, getting wrapped up in that personal sense of self that can always find something to be upset about. Another thing you're doing by repeating I'm fine along with your breathing is giving yourself a personal affirmation. And personal affirmations are somewhat of a cliche in the realm of... Uh-oh, she's playing with my microphone. They're a cliche in the realm of personal healing and growth and so forth, but they work. There's a reason things become cliche. It's because they are utilized a lot. So by giving yourself that affirmation, I'm fine, you start to convince yourself that you are fine. You're also giving your brain something to do other than spin off on 100 tangents of various things that it can worry about. By giving it just 2 words, I'm fine, you still are allowing your mind to think, but not as much and in a more focused way. And your mind is much less likely to spin off in various directions that it fixates upon when you're focused on given words, like you could call it a mantra. But in this case, it really helps you center and slow things down quite a bit. And another thing you're doing by forcing yourself to breathe is helping your entire body function better. I'm realizing more and more in recent months that breathing is really extremely important. And I'm doing more breath work in general, and knowing that it's always there. It is something that we can turn to if we're not feeling centered or grounded. We can turn to the breath and to know that in the process of breathing, you are oxygenating all aspects of your body through your blood and throughout your cellular system, and just improving the function of your entire physical being. It's wonderful, but it's easy to slip out of. And if you give yourself a focused way of breathing through this fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, then you're forcing yourself to breathe, because sometimes if you're stressed out, you're just not going to be breathing very much. You will be holding your breath to a degree, or you will be breathing in a very shallow way that's not therapeutic, not helpful. So this will help you to stay focused on that breath process. You can find your own rhythm that works and feels comforting for you, but I find basically it works in this situation like this. And always breathing in fine, and always breathing out I'm. So at this point, I'm going on 4 hours, and fortunately I work from home, so if I need to take a nap later, I will. But for now, I'm going to, I did get the computer that I was anticipating, and I was amazed that over 2 hours went by. I started around 1 p.m. and it was like 3:20 p.m. when I received the knock on the door and signed for my new laptop. So I'm going to go play with that now, and thanks for listening. I hope that this is helpful for you if you run into insomnia or are experiencing any kind of anxiety in general. Bye-bye.